Did you know that nearly 70% of Australians feel financially worse off than they did just a year ago? With inflation biting harder than ever, housing prices sky high, and industries being reshaped by technology, the Australian economy is on the edge of a massive transformation. But here's the thing, most people aren't ready for what's coming. Behind the headlines and political speeches, a quiet storm is brewing. Major global shifts, climate disasters, AI disruption, and unpredictable government policies are all converging to create what could be the most volatile economic period in recent Australian history. Jobs are changing, cities are evolving, and your cost of living might not look the same next year or even next month. So, what does all this mean for you? In this video, we're breaking down 10 powerful reasons why the Australian economy is changing fast, and exactly how you can stay ahead of the curve. Ready to future-proof your life? Number 1. The shift to renewable energy. Australia is experiencing a major pivot towards renewable energy, and it's happening faster than many expected. In fact, recent data shows that over 35% of the country's electricity now comes from renewables, a figure set to double by 2030. Coal-fired power stations are being shut down earlier than planned, and new investments are pouring into solar, wind, and green hydrogen. This isn't just an environmental move, it's an economic one. The federal and state governments are backing this transition with billions of dollars in funding, subsidies, and infrastructure development. From massive solar farms in the Northern Territory to offshore wind projects in Victoria, this shift is creating entirely new industries. But while it's generating jobs in clean energy, it's also disrupting traditional sectors, especially fossil fuels and manufacturing that rely on old power systems. So, what does this mean for you? If you're working in energy, engineering, construction, or even IT, there's a huge opportunity to reskill and pivot into these growing fields. There's a demand for solar technicians, project managers, electrical engineers, and data analysts in energy systems. For everyday Australians, the renewable boom could mean lower power bills in the long run and energy independence, but only if the infrastructure keeps up. The bottom line, the clean energy revolution isn't coming. It's already here. And those who understand this shift early on will have a major advantage in the years ahead. Number 2. Rising cost of living and inflation. Have you noticed your grocery bill creeping up every week? You're not imagining things. Australia is facing one of its highest inflation spikes in decades, with the Consumer Price Index rising over 7% at its peak in 2023. Everyday essentials, food, fuel, rent, and electricity have become noticeably more expensive, and millions of Australians are feeling the squeeze. But what's really driving this? A mix of global factors like supply chain disruptions, the war in Ukraine, and rising oil prices, combined with domestic pressures such as labour shortages and climate-related crop damage. To control inflation, the Reserve Bank of Australia has been aggressively raising interest rates, making mortgages and loans more expensive. This in turn affects everything from home ownership dreams to small business survival. The cost of living crisis isn't just about numbers, it's reshaping how people spend, save, and plan their futures. Many households are cutting back on non-essentials, dipping into savings, or taking on second jobs. But there are practical ways to fight back. Budgeting apps like Pocketbook or Money Brilliant, switching to more competitive utility providers, and renegotiating your mortgage rate can make a real difference. What's clear is that this isn't a temporary bump. It's a fundamental shift in Australia's economic reality. And whether you're a student, a parent, or planning retirement, adapting to this new cost structure is crucial. The key is to stay informed, spend smart, and prepare for a more unpredictable financial landscape. Number 3. Housing market disruptions. The Australian dream of owning a home is slipping further out of reach. In some cities, median house prices have soared past $1 million, and rental prices are hitting record highs. What's going on? The housing market is going through a turbulent transformation, and it's affecting everyone from first-home buyers to lifelong renters. A key reason is supply and demand. There's simply not enough housing to keep up with population growth, especially in major cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. At the same time, construction costs have surged due to inflation, labour shortages, and material delays. Developers are pulling back, and many planned housing projects are being postponed or cancelled altogether. Meanwhile, the rise in interest rates has created another shockwave. Home loans have become more expensive, pricing many buyers out of the market or reducing how much they can borrow. This has cooled demand slightly, but not enough to make housing truly affordable, especially for younger Australians and low-income families. If you're a renter, you're not safe either. Vacancy rates have dropped to historic lows, driving up competition and allowing landlords to push rents higher. For investors, the market remains a double-edged sword. Rising values offer long-term gains, but rising rates eat into short-term profits. The big takeaway? The housing market isn't just changing, it's being redefined. Whether you're planning to buy, rent, or invest, staying ahead means understanding the trends, watching interest rate changes closely, and exploring regional or outer suburban opportunities that offer better value. Number 4, technological displacement. Imagine losing your job, not to a person, but to a machine. This isn't science fiction, it's already happening across Australia. From self-serve kiosks replacing cashiers to AI handling financial services, technology is rapidly transforming the workforce. And while innovation brings efficiency and growth, it also means that many traditional roles are disappearing or being reshaped entirely. Recent studies estimate that up to 40% of Australian jobs could be automated within the next 2 decades. Industries like manufacturing, retail, logistics, and even white-collar professions such as accounting and law are seeing tasks replaced by machines and software. It's not just low-skilled jobs at risk. Any role that involves repetition or data processing is under pressure. But this shift isn't just about job loss. It's also about job evolution. New roles are emerging in cybersecurity, data analysis, renewable tech, and digital services. The key is to adapt and reskill. Free and affordable online platforms like TAFE Digital, LinkedIn Learning, and Coursera offer courses in coding, AI, cloud computing, and more. For workers and students alike, the challenge is to stay one step ahead. Learn how to use technology rather than compete with it. Develop skills in creativity, critical thinking, and human interaction, areas machines can't easily replicate. This wave of technological change is unstoppable, but instead of fearing it, you can choose to ride it by preparing now for the future jobs of tomorrow. Number 5, population growth and immigration trends. Australia's population is booming again, fast. After a temporary slowdown during the pandemic, immigration has surged back, with over 500,000 new arrivals in just 1 year. While this brings fresh talent, culture, and economic energy, it also puts enormous pressure on housing, healthcare, and infrastructure. Cities like Melbourne and Sydney are feeling the strain. Public transport is crowded, schools are bursting at the seams, and rental markets are under intense pressure. At the same time, skilled migrants are helping to fill critical labour shortages in industries like construction, healthcare, and tech. Immigration is not just a demographic trend, it's a strategic lever shaping Australia's economic future. This rapid growth comes with both opportunities and challenges. More people can mean stronger demand, innovation, and global connections, but it also means that governments need to invest more in planning, building, and supporting communities. As an individual, understanding where population trends are heading can help you make smarter decisions, whether that's choosing where to live, where to invest, or what career path to follow. The bottom line, Australia is changing and changing fast. The country's cultural landscape, workforce, and even its suburbs are evolving due to this population shift. Those who pay attention now will be better placed to adapt, thrive, and seize the benefits of this transformation. We poured hours of research and passion into this video, so if you found it valuable, drop a comment sharing which trend surprised you most. And hey, subscribing takes just one click, but it fuels our mission to bring you more eye-opening content every week. Number 6, climate change and natural disasters. Floods, bushfires, droughts, sound familiar? These extreme weather events are no longer rare in Australia. They're becoming a disturbing new normal. Over the past 5 years alone, the country has faced billions of dollars in damages due to climate-related disasters. And scientists warn it's only going to intensify. Climate change isn't just an environmental issue, it's an economic threat. Entire industries are feeling the impact. Agriculture is struggling with unpredictable seasons, insurance premiums are skyrocketing, and infrastructure is constantly being repaired or rebuilt after damage. In 2022, for example, floods in New South Wales and Queensland led to an estimated $5 billion in losses, affecting homes, farms, and businesses alike. For everyday Australians, this translates to higher costs, more risk, and the urgent need to adapt. Whether you're a homeowner, a renter, or a business owner, you need to start thinking about climate resilience. Are you living in a flood-prone area? Is your insurance up to date? Do you have an emergency plan? These aren't just nice-to-haves anymore. They're necessities. But it's not all doom and gloom. This crisis is also creating new opportunities in green innovation, sustainable farming, and disaster response technology. Companies and workers who pivot towards eco-conscious practices may find themselves ahead of the curve. In short, climate change is not a distant threat. It's here, and it's reshaping the economy from the ground up. The smart move? Prepare now, stay informed, and embrace the tools that help you weather the storm, literally and financially. Number 7, global economic tensions. When giants clash, smaller nations feel the shockwaves. Australia's economy is deeply tied to the global stage, especially to powerhouses like China and the United States. And as trade wars, diplomatic rifts, and supply chain issues escalate, Australia finds itself in an increasingly fragile position. Take our exports, for example. China remains Australia's largest trading partner, buying billions in iron ore, coal, wine, and more. But recent political tensions have led to tariffs, restrictions, and unpredictable policy shifts. Meanwhile, Australia's strategic alliance with the US brings benefits, but also risks, especially when navigating conflicts in the Asia-Pacific region. Add in global inflation, ongoing wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, and disruptions in global shipping routes. And it's clear why economists are warning of an era of geopolitical instability. Every ripple overseas can become a tidal wave at home, affecting fuel prices, interest rates, and the availability of everyday goods. What can Australians do? Start by diversifying, not just investments, but careers, suppliers, and income sources. If your industry relies heavily on exports or imports, be aware of shifting trade patterns and seek alternative markets or skills. It's also worth following government trade updates and staying informed about international news. Bottom line, global tensions aren't just stories in the news. They're real forces shaping your wallet, your job, and your future. And in a world where borders feel more open but risks feel more unpredictable, adaptability is your greatest economic shield. Number 8, government policy and reforms. Think government policies don't affect you directly? Think again. From tax rates to superannuation, healthcare funding to education reforms, every decision made in Canberra can impact your wallet, your job, and your future. And right now, Australia is undergoing some of its most significant policy shifts in decades. For starters, the government is rolling out new tax changes aimed at balancing economic growth with cost of living relief. This includes adjustments to income brackets, small business support, and incentives for green energy investments. Meanwhile, superannuation reforms are being debated, raising questions about how much Aussies will need to retire comfortably and whether early withdrawals should remain an option during crises. Healthcare spending is also under pressure, with calls to reform Medicare and reduce out-of-pocket costs. Education policy is shifting too, with a growing focus on vocational training and apprenticeships rather than just university pathways. These moves are meant to prepare Australians for a more tech-driven, skills-based economy. But here's the challenge. Policies often change with each election cycle. That means Australians need to stay agile, understanding how legislation affects their financial planning, career paths, and lifestyle choices. And it's not just about watching the news. It's about interpreting what these reforms mean for your everyday life. The bottom line? Whether you're buying a home, choosing a job, or planning for retirement, government policy plays a bigger role than you might think. Stay informed, ask questions, and don't underestimate the power of political decisions on your personal economy. Number 9. Aging population and healthcare strains. Australia is getting older, and fast. By 2050, it's projected that 1 in 5 Australians will be over the age of 65. While people are living longer, healthier lives, this demographic shift is placing enormous pressure on the country's healthcare system, social services, and workforce dynamics. An aging population means increased demand for aged care services, hospitals, and medical staff. Already, Australia is facing a shortage of nurses, aged care workers, and general practitioners. This not only affects seniors, but trickles down to younger Australians through longer wait times, higher healthcare costs, and strained public health infrastructure. Economically, the impact is massive. As more people retire, fewer workers are contributing to taxes and superannuation systems. This creates what experts call a dependency burden, fewer people supporting a growing group of retirees. To address this, governments may have to raise the retirement age, adjust pension rules, or increase funding for aged care, which could affect your taxes and future benefits. But with challenge comes opportunity. The healthcare and aged care sectors are expected to be 2 of the fastest growing job markets in the coming decades. If you're considering a career change or looking to future-proof your skills, roles in nursing, therapy, and elder care may offer long-term security. The aging of Australia isn't just a health issue, it's a seismic economic shift. And whether you're a worker, a student, or nearing retirement, now's the time to plan for a future shaped by longevity and care. Number 10. The rise of remote work and digital nomadism. What if your office could be anywhere in the world? For millions of Australians, that question is no longer hypothetical. The rise of remote work and digital nomadism has permanently changed how, where, and even why we work. And it's reshaping everything from real estate to regional economies. During the pandemic, remote work was a necessity. But even as restrictions eased, many companies kept hybrid or fully remote models in place. Today, nearly 1/3 of Australian workers spend at least part of their week working from home. This flexibility is shifting demand. People are leaving expensive cities in favor of regional areas with better quality of life and lower costs. Meanwhile, the digital nomad lifestyle, working online while traveling, is booming. Co-working spaces are popping up in coastal towns and tourist hubs, and some countries are offering special visas for remote workers. This opens up opportunities not just for freedom, but also for income diversification, international work, and personal growth. For businesses, this shift means access to a broader talent pool, reduced office costs, and new management styles. For workers, it means greater autonomy, but also a need for discipline, digital tools, and strong time management. Whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur, remote work isn't just a trend, it's a structural shift. And those who embrace it early will find new freedom, flexibility, and perhaps even financial advantage in this new economy. The Australian economy is standing at a crossroads, and the changes ahead aren't just possible, they're inevitable. From the explosive growth of renewable energy to the challenges of an aging population, from global conflicts to technological disruption, these 10 trends are already reshaping the way we live, work, and plan for the future. Whether you're a student thinking about your career path, a family trying to manage rising costs, or a retiree protecting your savings, these shifts affect all of us. But here's the good news. Change also brings opportunity. The more aware you are, the better equipped you'll be to adapt, pivot, and make smart decisions that keep you ahead of the curve. If you've watched this far, it means you're serious about your future. And that's powerful. So don't just be a passive observer of change. Be a participant. Learn, prepare, and act. Because in times of economic upheaval, those who move early are the ones who thrive. Thanks for watching, and remember, the best way to predict the future is to prepare for it. Now is your chance to do just that.